Remember that quantitative data is based in numbers, and those numbers are countable and measurable. Qualitative data is interpretation-based or descriptive relating to language. So it depends on what kind of qualities or quantities you are collecting. In this case, we see that blood pressure is the main concern of the study, and we would collect blood pressure information numerically, so it's quantitative. For this one, we're asking the question if there's a correlation between social media use and depression symptoms. Now, when we think about the measurement of those two variables, we can say that social media is likely to be measured quantitatively, focusing on the minutes of use or frequency of use. We also look at depression symptoms, also likely measured quantitatively. Here you can see we're looking at lived experiences. When we think about capturing data for lived experiences, we're likely capturing these experiences in words, not numbers. Therefore, it's very likely a qualitative study because we're hearing stories and narratives regarding cancer. Remember that when we use ethnographic research or ethnography, we're including methods like making observations, taking field notes, having informal conversations, possibly interviewing. These are all ways that a researcher might capture words. The researcher here is not capturing numbers, so it's qualitative. Notice that this question has to do with consumer purchasing decisions, and we would likely count those purchasing decisions by counting the number of products purchased, or we might count the money involved in the purchases. But either way, we're talking about numbers. So we're talking about quantitative measurement. Notice here that we're doing a survey and we're investigating anxiety among college students. We would guess that we would measure anxiety quantitatively. So we might measure the number of people who report being anxious, and that would make our study quantitative. For this question, we notice the words case study. And when a researcher is conducting a case study, this is likely done by collecting words, and that would make it qualitative. Notice on this question, we see the word experiment is used. We're looking at the effectiveness of a teaching method on student learning outcomes. We would likely measure those learning outcomes with numbers, possibly test scores or other numerical data. So it's quantitative. Now, this one's a little bit easier because we know that we measure attendance in numbers, the number of days attended. We also know that grades are likely numerical. They might be based on points that are earned or percentage of correct answers. Both are numbers, and this leads us to the conclusion that this is a quantitative study. For this last one, we see the word narrative is used. And when we think of a narrative inquiry, the researcher is collecting words, not numbers. So it's qualitative.